Yeah, hi Year 9, welcome to your weekly introduction videos. This is learning about the idea of density. That might seem like we're sort of flipping from topic to topic, but actually the idea of density is a very, very similar concept to the idea of speed. So it sort of all falls under the same unit of work. Speed and density are what we call compound units. Let me just write that down. Compound units. That's what this unit is all about, because speed is kilometers per hour or meters per second. That's how we measure it. It's compound units made up of two sort of units, and so is density. Okay, so they're actually linked in obviously they're very different ideas. Density and speed are very different things, but the way we treat them mathematically are very similar. Okay, so we're going to look at what density is, understand the formulas involving density, understand the units of density, and then be able to solve problems using density. Okay, so you might know what density is from science. Okay, and it's very simple. Density is an important measure because if you're talking about how heavy things are, this is kind of a sort of a pointless conversation, because what's heavier, a ton of feathers or a ton of bricks? What, they're both the same weight. A ton of feathers has got to be the same as a ton of bricks. But obviously, if you had a ton of feathers, because feathers are sort of fairly light, you'd have to have a massive volume of feathers to weigh the same as a ton of bricks, which wouldn't need quite such an amount of volume in order to make that ton. All right? So density is a measure of how much something weighs compared to the volume that it takes up. Okay? And it really, it helps us understand whether things will float on water or not, for example. So here you can see you've got a sponge, and that has less density than water. Okay, so it will float. Block of wood has roughly the same density as water. So what it does is it sort of bobs at the top of the water. It doesn't sink, but it also doesn't sort of stay right at the top. And then you've got a block of metal, which has a higher density than water. So it will sink to the bottom, okay? Because basically, if I take the same volume of water and the same volume of metal, the metal will be heavier. It doesn't matter that I've got a lot more weight of water overall. What matters is that the metal weighs more for the same amount of volume, okay? You look at this beach ball. This beach ball is taking up a huge volume, but it's probably very light, so that won't sink, okay? Because the density, the amount of weight per volume, is much lower than water. Whereas these metal balls, which are really, really small, they will sink because they have quite a high weight compared to the amount of volume that they take up, more than water does. So those ones will sink to the bottom. Okay. So how do we measure density? Here are the formulas. Just like, remember when we did speed, we said we had speed equals distance over time. Okay. Well, same thing with density. Only what we're saying is density is mass divided by volume. Density is equal to mass divided by volume. So we're basically saying how heavy is something compared to the volume that it takes up. Okay? If something is really, 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 really light but takes up a small space, it takes up a large space, it will have a very low density. Whereas something is very, very, very heavy in a small space, it will have a very, very large density. Okay? So how do we measure it? Typically, Density is measured in these units, grams per centimetre cubed, okay, or kilograms per metre cubed. You might get something like this, grams per milliliter. Remember that a milliliter is equal to a centimetre cubed. 1 milliliter is equal to 1 centimetre cubed, okay? You might also get it as a kilogram per litre. Remember that 1 litre, better say 1 metre cubed is equal to 1,000 litres. Okay, so 1 litre is equal to 0.001 meters cubed. Okay, so try to remember that. So typically grams per centimetre cubed or kilograms per metre cubed, but sometimes we use the capacity units, millilitres and litres as well. Okay, and just like speed, what you cannot do is mix up the units, so you've got to be really, really careful. Okay. So please ask me if you don't understand what density is, because if you don't understand what density is, you've got no chance of understanding things as we go along. Okay. Now, obviously, what we can do is we can rearrange these formulas as well. So we can say mass is equal to density times volume, and volume is equal to mass divided by density. Just rearranging the same way that we can rearrange speed, distance, time formulas. Okay, so 3 versions there. So depending on what you're trying to find out and what information you have will dictate which of those formulas you're going to use. Okay, and remember, maths is all about getting the right formula and then popping the numbers in and solving the equation. It's always the same. Okay. So here's some examples. Okay. A cube of size 3 centimeters has a mass of 54 grams. What is the density of the cube? So remember, density is what we're trying to find out. So density equals mass divided by volume. Well, the mass is 54. What we don't know yet is the volume. But we do know it's a cube. Okay, cube. So a cube is a shape that has all equal edge sizes. So it's a 3 by 3 by 3 cube. So the volume must be equal to 3 times 3 times 3, which is 27. Okay, because it's a cube, not a cuboid. It's a cube, so we knew all sides were the same. And so the answer is 2. And what's going to be the unit of measure? Well, the weight was in grams, so grams per volume measured in centimetres cubed. So the density is 2 grams per centimetre cubed. Okay. Now, let's have a look at the next one. Gold has a density of 19.32 grams per centimetre cubed. How much does 1 metre cubed of gold weigh? Now, you've got to be careful here because we're mixing up units. So what you need to know is what is 1 metre cubed in centimetres cubed. And Abdullah, I'm talking to you. I hope you remember that if you say this, 1 metre cubed equals 100 centimetre cubed. No, definitely not. Okay? 1 metre cubed is actually equal to 1 million 1 million centimetres cubed. Okay, so what you're really asking is how much does 1 million centimetres cubed of gold weigh? So the question is asking you to find the mass. So mass is equal to, what's the right formula? Density times volume. Okay. So density is 19.32, and the volume of gold that you want is 1 million centimeters cubed. So you're going to end up with 19 million 320,000, and that's grams. Okay, so we could now convert that. Now we've got the answer, we could now convert that. That would be 19320, so 19,320 kilograms, or you might say 19.32 tons. Okay, because 1,000 kilograms is a ton. All right, so I hope that makes sense. Please remember this, guys. It's just very frustrating. As I've been teaching this all my life. Well, not all my life. Last 12 years, I think I've been teaching this particular topic, and students never remember what the conversions are for area and volume units. It's not the same as the length ones. Okay. Right, what about C? What is the volume of an object that weighs 1 kilogram and has a density of 6 grams per centimetre cubed? So again, what's happening here is we're mixing up units. 1 kilogram and grams per centimetre cubed. So what I'm going to need to do is change the kilogram to grams. So 1 kilogram is equal to 1,000 grams. Okay, now what I want to do is find volume. So volume is equal to mass over density. There it is. Volume is equal to mass over density. So the mass is 1,000 grams over a density of 6. I'm just going to use my calculator. 1,000 divided by 6 equals 167. The unit of measure will be centimeters cubed. 3 significant figures. Sorry about that. Okay. I hope that makes sense. Right, so just a quick check. Which of these is the correct formula? To stop your video and see if you can get it right. Okay, so remember your little triangle, that will help you get it right. Density equals mass divided by volume. So density definitely doesn't equal mass times volume. Mass doesn't equal volume divided by density, it's volume times density. Volume equals mass times density. Nope, that's wrong. Volume equals mass over density. That's the one that's correct. Okay. 10 centimeters cubed of aluminium has a mass of 28 grams. What is its density? Okay, stop your video and have a go. Okay, very simple. Density equals mass over volume. Mass is 28 over volume of 10 equals 2.8, and the unit of measure would be grams per centimetre cubed. So the answer is B. Seawater has a density of 1.03 grams per centimetre cubed. What is the mass of 100 centimetres cubed of seawater? Well, what we know here is the volume and the density. We need to know the mass. So stop your video and have a go. So mass equals volume times density. Volume is 100 times density 1.03. So it's going to be 103 grams. Okay. So the answer is A. Okay, last one. Seawater has a density of 1.03 grams per centimetre cubed. What is the volume of 4.12 grams of seawater? Okay, stop your video and have a go. Okay, we want volume. Volume is equal to mass over density. So we're going to say our mass is 4.12 divided by density 1.03, and I think that you'll find that that is equal to 4. What's the unit of measure? Well, that's grams per centimetre cubed, so the volume must be 4 centimetres cubed. Okay, right, I'm going to stop the video there.